Tesla or Porsche?
I get maybe $50 a week, and that's the lucky week.
Marketing. Why did you decide to learn it?
Some expensive cars and like private jets and expensive houses to me. I'm like,
Everything is about marketing and sales, greed and advertisement.
marketing is a virus.
Data about customers is the core of all marketing and sales activities.
Would cost like $1 million or even more.
Porsche or Awesome Strangers podcast?
Man, Awesome Strangers podcast will win at any competition of that regard, of that sort. So.
You are listening to the Awesome Strangers podcast. Initiation.
In Prag.
Arizona in my mind. Arizona can't forget. Arizona back in times. When you're sitting there, I'm shifting big gear. You're the best, we're rushing west.
So, let's get it all started.
Let's try.
Let's try. How do I look?
You look awesome, as always, brother.
Thanks.
That's always the answer that you will get from me.
Okay, well, because I decided to look business casual today, because we're going to discuss some marketing and sales
Some business shit.
business shit.
Serious shit.
Serious shit.
Finally.
So I even took my glasses, so I'm going to put it on.
Yes. Plus 10 to business shittiness right now.
plus 10 to intelligence, plus 10 to powerness,
Yes.
plus 10 to shitness. Yeah.
We are finally doing that. And
Yeah.
it feels a bit weird. You know, we spent countless nights sitting here discussing all this stuff in the world, but suddenly we are doing the same, but with the camera and with the mic, and it feels completely different.
Well, yeah.
This is not your first recording already, and how do you deal with this awkwardness maybe at the beginning and this feeling? People are usually intimidated by the cameras. This stuff is looking at me, and I'm like, why are you looking at me? Why are you staring at me like this with your 3 cameras and all of that?
Well, to be honest, it was surprising to me that when we were recording for the first time, I didn't feel shy, I didn't feel embarrassed, I didn't feel strange. It was kind of natural to me. That was very, very surprising because, yeah, cameras and stuff. But to be honest, I don't even see the cameras. I'm kind of, focused on the speaker, on you in this case. And yeah, well, from time to time, it's even good to look at the camera like that.
Yeah.
So it's, this is my podcast. Maybe that's why I feel not nervous at all.
It is just natural to you. And you've been preparing for this moment, for this podcast recording for a while now. And I actually had a question to you. Like, I remember you were talking about like a business idea. I think it was like half a year ago or maybe even more. And now I realized that was a podcast idea, but that was a long time ago. So you were preparing, you were doing something to get yourself ready, but then suddenly something clicked. What made you decide that this is the right moment, this is the right time that you need to start actually doing some things instead of planning?
Well, good question. I kind of have been imagining myself for a long time as a podcaster since I was a kid, maybe from the age of 14 or something like that. And it was just a dream. And now I think I'm just a grown up now. And I kind of feel confident in myself. That's why I decided like, okay, let's do it. And I think it's all because sometimes we put a lot of, what is the best way to put this? We put a lot of expectations to ourselves, and which is very true to me. I compare myself always with other people, and I can see the quality of the content that nowadays podcasters produce and video bloggers produce. And initial reaction like, oh, they invested so much time and money, and I think I'm not gonna do that because I'm not confident enough and stuff. But now, since we are grown-ups, I like feel like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I don't really care if it's gonna be bad. Okay, we're gonna find a way to make it better.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be good, well, it's always, a space to grow. And yeah, just I don't feel about the thoughts of other people, about the opinion of other people. Yes, it's like when you do it for the first time, especially, you shouldn't put a lot of expectations to yourself, to your content. And that's the answer, I think. Yeah, just go.
There's never a good time and a good place, right?
Exactly. Just let's go for it, and that's it.
We're gonna try it anyways. But I mean, in the modern world, trying to create something new, it is as easy as it ever been, but it's also as hard as it's ever been, because from one hand you have so much content, you have so much things to prepare you for starting your own enterprise like this. You have a lot of pages on the internet talking about the tech stuff, talking about how to prepare for your podcast, etc. So tons of content. But on the other hand, because there's tons of content, there's a lot of competition there as well. If you treat it like a business, there's a lot of competition, and it makes it even harder, because you go to Spotify, you like scroll through first like top 100, 200, 300, and they all have just extremely high levels of production, extremely high levels of like guests, and there's like millions of other stuff there over there, and it's hard to convince yourself that you're actually worth it. You're actually worth it. You have all the content, you know how to prepare yourself, but then the hard thing is to convince yourself that, yeah, this is the right time. I just need to try, and it will work out for me. This is, I think, the hardest time, but you did, and that's amazing.
And thanks a lot for coming and for having me, because this is a great support. Because the first podcast you usually record with somebody you know, and yeah, so. Just to give a brief introduction of who you are. First of all, you're my best friend. Second of all, we have been acquainted since 2019, which makes 5 years, right?
Okay.
And I know
it feels much more than that.
It feels much more than that, like the whole life.
Yeah.
And I know you as a good professional in marketing. That's why I wanted to discuss this topic, to try to unleash the power of knowledge in this domain.
Okay.
And maybe can you give a brief introduction of yourself if you want?
Sure. My name is Vlad, and I am a human being. I'm a happy human being, and that's the most important thing about me. I've built my career in marketing, as you said, mostly in strategic realms of marketing, and just in B2B space, so business to business, and we will talk about the differences later on. But I never associated myself with my career first. Like, me does not equal to my career, right? It's much more than that. I do music, I do relationships, I'm married to the love of my life, and I'm a traveler. We are living here in Istanbul. I'm trying to explore different areas of this world, and try to find all the things that would gain my interest. So yeah, that's me. I just turned 30 last week.
Congratulations.
Last week, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, turning 30 is a big milestone, of course. And when you're approaching this milestone, you start thinking about things you've done in your life. You start reflecting about the good things and the bad things. And as I was preparing myself to face the 30, I felt like I'm in a good spot. And that's the most important thing. I feel like I've done good things in my life, and all of those good things led me to where I am, and this is a very good place. So that's why I started my description with, I'm just a happy man. So
that's great. And I will, if you let me, I'm going to add a little bit about your biography. So you're also a husband. Yeah, you mentioned your wife. But you're also the father of 2 children. The first children is the she-cat called Hurma, and the second child is the she-cat also called a cat.
A cat, yeah.
Yes.
She's just a cat.
Yes, and Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning.
It's worse. I mean, for sure. Cats. I mean, I never really liked when people treat their pets as their children or as part of. I mean, they are definitely part of my family, but they're not my children. You know, they're my friends. They are, especially with my cat, whose name is just the cat. We've been with her. She's 8 years now, or 9 years, and we've been together for this 9 years. We've done a lot of
Traveling.
well, traveling, yes, but we've just lived through a lot of things together. And at this point, we realized that she's a grown-up cat. She's a grown-up woman, if you can say, and you just treat her like a friend, you know, like an old friend, and. That's how I treat my cats, like partners, like friends, and yeah, it's they are definitely part of my family, but they're not the children. You know, the children is the next milestone for me.
Okay, but this is an interesting perspective because I thought some people treat their pets exactly as part of their families and like children because they take care of them, they feed them, they grow them up in a sense, in a way. Of course, it's not completely true, and I also thought that some people have animals and treat them as children, and it like help them to prepare for real children, like for the kids, because you have to be responsible if you have a cat or a dog or some other animals. Anyway, it's some level of responsibility,
For
right?
sure, yeah. I mean, it is a lot of responsibility.
For example, when cats start fighting in the middle of the night, which
You just don't
they
care.
usually do.
And that's the difference. And that's the difference, because if your children start to fight, you will have to intervene. But with cats, you just don't care. You just sleep, and then that's it. You don't even wake up. I mean, with the cats, it's a bit different compared to the dogs, because I think dogs, they just they demand more responsibility from your end. They demand more attention from your end, and that's why I'm not a dog person, because I don't like the feeling that someone's life, someone's whole life is me, and I don't feel comfortable in this situation. And with dogs, I just don't know. There's too much attention happening, you know, that you need to give them, and they will give back to you. With the cats, I treat it like a beautiful live vase. I don't know, like a piece of beautiful, well-crafted furniture that is also my best friend, right? So because if you want to pet your cat, if they want you to pet them, you know, you can have the best 5 minutes of your life, but then you just go in the different corners and you continue with your life. And that's kind of the difference that I see, why I love cats more than dogs. I love dogs, of course, but they're just too demanding for me.
Yeah, considering cats and dogs, I have never owned one, but I would always. It was my dream for a long time. It is still my dream, but as you said, it's a big responsibility. I'm a dog person, so I would love to own one British. What is the breed? I don't remember. Always forget this. Anyway, one day I'm gonna own a dog. That's definitely true. We will see.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, in our case, when we are traveling, when we are living in different places, different cities, it's just harder, of course, with the cats. But with the cats, or dogs, or pets, or whatever. But when you start thinking about it, it's not that hard. Like traveling by plane is not hard with a dog, if it's not like a huge dog that you have to go to give to the luggage or anything. I wouldn't want my dog to be in a luggage in a cold place in a plane. I don't want that. But with the cats or with the small dogs, it's very, very easy, right? Of course, it's stressful for the pets, but I know it's fine. They will deal with it, and especially for the cats, they don't care about what's happening outside, right? They care about what's happening inside your apartment, and your life within your apartment will be very similar to how you lived your life in your previous countries or in your homeland, it's pretty much the same. So for them, it's not a big stress.
Well, cats marketing,
Yeah.
so they don't care about the outside. But it takes time for them to get used to their new surroundings, right? But a couple
does.
of days.
Yeah, I mean, for the cats, all the scientists who learn how cats behave, they know for sure that the happiest cat is the one that lives the Groundhog Day. So everything every day is the same. So for a lot of cat owners who doubt that they need to get more emotions to their cat's life, they start walking them to the streets and then start doing some weird shit with their cats to because they feel like they're not doing enough. It's not the right thing, because cats enjoy peace and silence. That's what they enjoy most. They enjoy predictability. That's the most enjoyable thing for them. So if you have a cat, don't try to project your own emotions and your way of living to your pet, because they are different, of course.
Well, yeah, that's true. Anyway, getting back to marketing, why did you decide to learn it, or did it happen by chance?
It did, an absolute chance, and I never chose marketing as my profession. I think it just chose me, because originally I don't have any background in terms of higher education in marketing. I studied in St. Petersburg State University back in Russia, and I studied international relationships. So I got my bachelor's degree in international relationships, and then I choose politics and political science as my magister's degree.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the background in international relations, it's kind of hard to understand what you really want to do, because all your courses or your studies were focused on very, very vague concepts, very broad things like history and philosophy and economics and the all the different things that you cannot directly apply to the work routine. So when I graduated, I really wanted to start working. When I graduated from the bachelor's degree, I really wanted to start working. And I just started looking for what's available out there. And the situation was like, if someone was offering me an HR position, I would say that, of course, I'm a good HR person. My grandfather was an HR. My father was, my whole family are in HR. So if it's marketing, of course, it's the opposite for marketing. So I just was very lucky to get to the place where I still work. It's been almost 8 years, and I still work at the same company. I had my moments where I left the company. I explored different areas. I also worked for different startups as a consultant. But yeah, it just chose me. I found a good opportunity and jumped on it. I didn't have any background. I started as a junior specialist at the lower possible level in marketing or in any IT sector. So,
But you loved it on the way, right? On the go.
I think I did. But with marketing, I think it took me a lot of time to understand what marketing is, because for a lot of people, there is a misconception that marketing is just about the shitty ads that you see on the internet, and that's marketing. But marketing is much more than that, especially when you are talking like strategic marketing, campaign marketing, and all of that. If you would Google marketing and you would look at the definition in Wikipedia, I think it would have a very long and complicated definition of the demands and the supplies and all of that. But to put it simply, marketing is a way to understand what your buyer needs, what the person needs, and find ways to fulfill those needs by selling them shit that they don't even need, of course. So it's not just about pushing, it's about pulling as well. It's about understanding the market, it's about understanding the persona, it's about building the strategy, the tactics, it's about the KPIs. It's a very complicated thing. So if you break down marketing into this multiple areas, I love some of them, I don't enjoy the others. For example, as an end user, I do not enjoy when someone tries pushing something very hard to me. Like, I don't enjoy when someone is stealing my cookie information, and I don't enjoy when someone knows what I was doing online, and based on that they will serve stuff to me. But as a marketeer, of course, I have to do this, and I don't think I enjoy this part that much. But the research, the analysis, playing with data, I love it. That's the parts of marketing I love. So yeah, it is a complicated term, marketing, and there's a lot of elements to it.
By the way, on the Wikipedia, it's very short. Marketing is the act of satisfying and retaining customers.
Okay,
So
yeah.
satisfy and retain. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about retaining as well, right? So it's not just about selling; it's about making sure that your current customers will stay with you, will stay loyal with your brand. And because there's so much to marketing, there are different marketeers who specialize on different things, obviously, and there's a lot of different ideas and tactics and just countless things depending on the goals that you're trying to achieve. You will do different things. So that's fun about marketing, and that's what I love about marketing. That first of all, it always evolves, and this is the industry that never stops, that is always evolving, and there's always a room to learn something new in marketing. And the other thing is that you will definitely find something that interests you. If you like, if you're an introvert, if you like talking with numbers more than talking to people, you'll find your gem in marketing. You'll be just sitting there with data, and then data is everything in marketing right now. If you like, if you are an extrovert, if you enjoy talking to people, if you enjoy presentations and that skills, you can find yourself there as well. You can go to trade shows and then focus on the offline marketing, right? If you can focus on the brand perception and do the awareness marketing, or you can focus on lead generation and do the lead generation marketing. And it's also about the retention. So it could be, prospects and then new potential customers. It could be existing customers. And of course, the ways you treat these two groups is very, very different. So marketing is very versatile, especially today in the modern world. And I think we all know that because we all became marketeers. We all are marketeers now. We all have our social media accounts. We all have our Instagrams. We post the best versions of ourselves there, and we promote ourselves.
Good example, by the way. That's the way how we promote ourselves. The best photos, the best filters, the best time to post.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're trying something with your music career or with your hobbies that you try to sell to people. You want to be heard, right? And in that case, you'll start reading all the articles. You'll start understanding what is the best day of the week to post the stuff on Instagram. What is the best time? What is the best angle of yourself? What is the best color filter, as you said? Yeah, you'll just start very quickly digging into it. But again, it's even if you speak marketing like B2B and B2C, business to business versus business to customer, it is also very different. So business to customer is when you're trying to sell someone to just a regular person, to an end user, like Apple, Google. They are, Google, not much Google, because they have a very, very huge B2B sector. But let's take Apple for an example. Their main target audience are regular people, individuals, yeah, who will just buy their iPhones and then AirPods and all of that. So that's their realm. For B2B, business to business, it's when your main target audience are organizations, right? So you're building software, for example, to help organizations with their data management or with their CRM systems, customer relations, whatever. So
you are a business that helps other businesses to grow, develop.
And my expertise is in B2B, and I love that my expertise in B2B. It's of course it's different. I've tried B2C as well, but I love B2B because it is much more robust right now, and I think all the fun technologies are happening in B2B. All the account-based, the dark funnels, which we can talk later about. It all happens within B2B. I think B2C, of course, has its own interesting ideas and all of that. But one thing that I wanted to say is that for B2B marketeers, the biggest threat, and I also went through that as well, is to forget that businesses are also people. You know, when you're trying to sell something to a business, you're not selling it to the business, you're selling it to the people, to the decision makers who will actually make a decision to buy something from you. So this professional deformation that happens in B2B is that, you know, after 5-6 years, you just start to forget that you are working with people. All these leads, they're just numbers for you. Statistics, yeah. And that's the threat in marketing, and you will never be a good specialist when you start to lose this feeling that you're actually working with people. So after all, we all work with people.
Yeah, that's a good notion. And we should remember that. Right now I work in sales, and it's also B2B sector, and I think despite of the fact that I am 10 plus years in the business, I still kind of remember that I'm working with people. Well, because nowadays it's so important. It's not just, users, they are not fools, right?
Yeah.
They realize instantaneously if you're trying to treat them bad, if you're trying to deceive, if you're trying to sell something they don't really need. Of course, some percentage of people are going to buy something that they don't need, but in the end, if they buy, they need at least the feeling of spending money, the feeling of releasing this buying energy.
And achieving some goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the question, how you chose this profession and that it rather chose you.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about it a little bit because I think it's important. When we are 20 years old people, 23, 24, when we graduate from our universities, sometimes the way forward is so vague. You don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
You're so lost. Because I remember when I was 20 years old, I finished high school. I enrolled into university, but for some reason, I lost motivation to do that, and I didn't like my first university. Then
what was the
it
first?
was the veterinarian.
Okay.
So I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted, kind of quoted, because my parents wanted, especially my grandmother, because she was kind of old and ill, and she had this dream in her mind that one day I'm gonna become the best doctor in the world, and I'm gonna treat all her diseases and stuff. Well, but I mean, I'm not judging. It's a good dream, I think, to want your kids to be doctors and lawyers and such. I mean, these professions, they're important. And,
For sure.
Doctors. I mean, deep in my heart, I am a doctor because I love helping people in general. And I think if that path was relevant to my mind at that time, I could have become a good doctor, a really good doctor, a surgeon. But I didn't have much at that time. When I went through my exams, I didn't get much credits to be enrolled into a budget scheme and this university.
When the government pays for your
when
education.
the government at least refunds partially or fully your education. I didn't manage to enroll into that program, and then I needed to change plan on the go. And one of my friends told me like, "Oh, come to our linguistic university. It's like international relations, international connections. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun." I did that. I liked it kind of. But anyway, I was 21 years old back then. And for some reason, I was depressed and lost. And I also kind of lost motivation to do my second university. And at that point, I realized that, okay, I need to do something about that. And I decided to enroll into army service because, well, we are both from Russia originally. And in Russia, it's still obligatory, mandatory to serve in the army. And
if you don't have reasons not to serve, like health reasons or something.
Health reasons, or also, well, every man in Russia reaching the age of 18 should go either to the army or to the university.
Yeah.
If you go to the university, they give you your military service will be delayed for the time while you're in the university.
Until I think you hit 27.
Until we reach 27,
And
and
then
now
you're-
it's 30, I think.
Now
They
it's
prolonged
30.
it.
Well, yeah, but back then it was 27. You hit 27, and then you're out. And that's why
Yes.
in Russia a lot of people would choose the university life, because they will go through bachelor's degree, then they will go to master's degree, then they will go to doctor's degree just to not to serve in army, because
Yeah.
then they hit 27, they're out of the draft, and that's
It's a legal way to
Yeah.
avoid making your military service. But anyway, getting back, I was so lost, so that I decided to enroll into the military service because I thought, oh, maybe that's going to fix me in a way. Maybe somebody will punch me there so hard that I'm going to, gain my motivation again.
Yeah. And it kind of happened, right?
It worked.
Yeah.
Actually, nobody punched me a lot, but I don't know how it happened. But when I got back from my military service, it was 1 year out, I somehow gained this motivation to learn. So my point, getting back to the initial point, if you're frustrated and lost being a teenager, and if you don't really know what to do, you're not alone. We are all like that, especially now when the world has been changing so rapidly and so many things arise every day, some new things like data science, like new technologies and stuff, and you don't really know what to devote yourself to, and it's normal to be lost. Just give yourself some time. Just try to focus on what you like, but don't put hard expectations on yourself, like to choose the job, some activity that you're gonna do all your life, because that's probably not gonna happen. Because right now people have to change their activity every 5, 10, 15 years maybe. They say, I'm not sure if it's true, but they say that if you're 20 plus years in the industry, you're probably not gonna quit. You're gonna be there forever. But if you're less than 15, 20 years into the domain, you still have a chance to, switch into some other profession. But anyway, I just wanted to tell that.
No, that's a very valid point, and I think it's important. First of all, what you mentioned, that when you're choosing a profession, it doesn't mean that you will stick with it forever, and that's the beauty of living in the modern world that's rapidly changing. And it's actually the opposite. If you are feeling that you are choosing a profession for your whole life, it's not going to work out, because things are changing so rapidly with the AI stuff, for example, happening right now. A lot of people are losing their jobs, like a lot of content creators, a lot of writers. They are just losing stuff because they're exchanged now with the AI model or something. And you always need to be ready to shift, to completely change your life and your profession. And that's why when you're choosing something when you're young, I don't even think that you have to be so thoughtful about it at some case. I mean, I think that the biggest value of your education is the ability to learn. So for me, like all this international relations, it gave me first the connections, which I'm still using, and second, it's the ability to learn. It's the ability to use sources. It's the ability to understand which sources are good or bad, and that allows me to shift my life to the way I to any way actually, and that's the beauty of the science. So when you're choosing, of course, it's good. You're just a very, very happy and lucky person if you know from the beginning that you will be like a doctor or an engineer, and you're studying your whole life for being there, and you'll be an engineer for your whole life. That's good. That's also amazing. But in a lot of cases, you're just not ready. You're not prepared to make this choice, and that's fine. Just take whatever choice that works for you for now, and then 5, 7, 10 years past, you'll choose another way, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, and it's gonna help you to grow because you're gonna gain on the go. You're gonna gain a lot of different skills.
Yeah, of course, and there's a lot of merging skills. For example, if we talk about marketing, as I talked about how marketing is very versatile and different. And when you're leaning more towards data in marketing, there's a whole realm of connecting professions like the data science, like the corporate information system science, something like that. So you could go and transition to one of that. Or if you're enjoying the offline promotions and the offline presentations, you could go to sales, because marketing has always been a back burner for sales. Marketing is always a machine to fuel sales, and it's also very similar if you evolve in marketing and you decide that you've done everything here, you can go to sales and start a whole new career, but with a background, with a very, very useful background that you can use. So yeah, it's the beauty of the modern world, where the shifting is happening very, very fast, and we all need to be ready to shift.
We all need to be flexible and adaptable to that. Yeah. And don't think that if you gain some education, if you got some education in a certain sphere, then it's going to be useless completely. No, because you gain some skills that can be combined with other skills. And also, if you have some quarrels with your parents, that you believe that education is for fool people, it's not completely true. It may be true for 0.00001% percentage of people on this earth who really know what they're gonna do. They're gonna, found a business, do some stuff. But the rest, we just don't know. So that's relating to what you said. When you get your education, the two biggest skills that you get is network and ability to work with information, like digest it on all levels, and to work with big amounts of information, which is really important in the nowadays world, because we have a lot of information around, and we need to choose the proper source of information, and then how to process that information properly using some software and stuff. So yeah. But how did you start your career anyway?
Well, again, I just took an opportunity in that company.
But was it from the network that you got in your university?
It actually wasn't.
No?
It was just by chance. I found a position online somewhere. I applied. I got through, I think, 5 interviews back then with different stakeholders. I did a lot of prep work for that, and I was lucky to be chosen for that position, and then I just started evolving there.
But how? Some of your friends worked at this company, or how?
No, just
you just found it on the web?
Yeah, just online. There's some aggregators to serve the needs of the people like me back then. They are just putting vacancies online, and that's where I got it. That was completely random for me. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's great, because I thought it was from the networking. Anyway, let's get back. Let's now go forward to the marketing dummies guide. So I'm a dummy in marketing. Every time we speak, we have a lot of things in common to discuss, because you're in marketing, I'm on sales, and these spheres kind of interconnected a lot. So one
very much.
One helps the other. One sphere helps the other, and vice versa. And let's discuss some history of the marketing. Do you know what were the first mentions of this discipline in the history of the humanity?
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, we were all marketers from the beginning when we learned how to speak.
Yeah, I think it's the second the second thought that you had, because if we go back to the definition, marketing is about understanding what the person needs and finding a way to fulfill that need, right? So it's that simple. So since our ancestors started trading with each other, marketing just appeared, because of course people were doing barters and people were trading goods with goods. People didn't have a perception of money, but even back then there were professional traders who were traveling, and they were serving different goods. And of course they started doing marketing as well, because they understood that in this particular village people would need wool, and in this particular village people would need bricks more, and that's how they choose the paths, that's how they choose where to go and what to fulfill. I think the biggest shift in marketing happens in 20th century after the Second World War, because before that, of course, we already had marketing departments in the beginning of 20th century. And again, marketing have always been like a back office to the sales organization. Marketing has always existed to fuel the sales machine, and you shouldn't forget about it ever. Like even now in big companies, we tend to split sales and marketing. We tend to misalign between sales and marketing, but it's the wrong way for sure. Sales and marketing should always go hand by hand. So what happened after the Second World War is that the demand was very low, specifically in Europe, because people were very poor. They were trying to, to just survive. But the supply was very high because the war, it boosted the economies of a lot of, not the economies, it boosted the industry a lot.
The military
The
industry in the
military
first
industry.
place.
Well, and military industry always causes the other industry to grow as well. So you have high supply, you have low demand, and then for every good you have competition, and that's where marketing just became obvious that marketing is essential, because you need to find a way to sell specifically your stuff to a specific person, because he has a lot of stuff to choose from. And then as we go through the technological revolution, there's just a lot of goods, there's just a lot of a lot of different needs as well, and that's where it became obvious that marketing is essential. So basically the second part of the 20th century, it's where all the marketing departments were growing. It's where all the big companies had their marketing departments created. So that's the history. And now of course we can talk about how internet changed the life forever. Of course, it changed life forever, not for marketing only, but for all the humanity. But for marketing specifically, right? Because we all went online, and there's people being online. It is a good way to start hunting for your leads, right? To start hunting for people, and also with the creation of cookies, right? In internet, that's how we track what you do on the internet. With all the big search algorithms like Google and Yandex and Bing, whatever, we know so much about the buyer. We know more than ever, but at the same time, the competition is so furious. That's why you have to be very, very specific about your targeting. You have to be very specific about the tactics you choose. So marketing is as complicated as it's ever been right now.
So is it a rocket science now?
Well,
Almost.
no, it is not a rocket science, but it's just very technical right now. It's very technical. It's more on the data side. It's more on understanding, where people go, what they do, how they buy, and the amount of information available is extreme. And making sure that you are picking the right information for the right person is the key to success. So I think it's for every other industry as well. You just need to, in this world where information is everywhere, you just need to make sure that you know how to work with this information and pick the right piece of information. So that's what marketing is.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, for example, let's imagine that some company, a big company that's definitely has a marketing department, because big companies usually have it, right? Some big company is targeting me with the product that I don't need. Is that the fault of marketing department?
Yes.
That they are not targeting right? They collected some misinformation about me, and then they are trying to push their product to me, but I don't need it.
Yes.
Is that right?
It is 100%. I mean,
so next time, if when I see some advertisements of the things that I'm 100% don't want to buy, I should blame you, marketers, right?
well, they are obviously doing the wrong job. But again, because there's so much information, there's so much available tools, it could be just a simple mistake from the site. When you're browsing something on the internet, it's possible that 5 years ago, like 3 years ago, you would Google something and you would completely forget about it. But then somewhere in the deep realms of the internet, this information will still exist, and the marketeer who's building his target audience, they will just pull you in, and that's not necessarily a fault of the marketing department. It's just how the industry works. It's there's so much moving element. There's the marketing guys who are choosing the targeting, but there's also the channels itself who help with targeting. So you would go to like Google Display Network, who would serve banners to you, right? And you choose the targeting within Google, and Google will put you in the audience or put you out of the audience based on the cookie information they have about you, based on your profile. And it could be Google's fault, it could be the search engine's faults or whatever, but it also could be a wrong targeting. It depends on the scale as well. If someone is trying to serve an idea, product, or anything globally to different geos, to different, the audience could be 1-2 million people, even more, up to a billion people. It's totally understandable. So when we're talking about this scale, it's just impossible to know for sure what a specific person, one of the billion people in the target audience, really needs. So you would just bombard them with all the messaging that you have and hope for the best. That's how it works.
That's one of the strategies of marketing, right? In general, no?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely one of the strategies out there, to just bombard the shit out of your target audience, but it's not effective, for sure. It's not effective.
Okay. Well, we will get back to this question when we're going to discuss marketing strategies a little bit further. But, getting back a little bit to this notion that we became marketers once we learned how to go on two feet, and started selling shit on the streets to some people, like bricks. Started selling bricks to people that want to build houses. The other day I was listening to the audiobook by Chris Voss. This book is called Never Split the Difference, and that's about negotiations. So I think it's connected to the sales and marketing sphere also, but his point, the Chris Voss's point, is that everything is a negotiation. Like every time you go out to buy some cookies in the nearest bakery, you're negotiating. So you're buying and you interact with salespeople and stuff. And he believes that we have from 5 to 10 negotiations per day. A very interesting book, by the way. This book was referenced to me by my colleagues, by the founding managers of the company where I'm working at. So I didn't finish it yet, but my colleagues already started to apply all these rules from this book, and they believe it works. So it's about negotiation. I don't know why I remembered about this book. Maybe because we were discussing how marketing evolved.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely applies because, when you're going online and we're choosing a good that you're willing to buy, you're also making this negotiation, but it's online, right? You are leaving your trace digitally. You're going to different websites, and they know you've been to their website. They know you've been to their competitor's website as well, and that's how negotiations happen. They know that you spent 5 minutes on their website, but then 3 minutes on their competitor's website, and they will pick this information and they will force you to get back, and that's also negotiation. That's also this. It's just bigger, and it may be a much longer process, but it all happens online. We just don't even think about it. But I think it applies definitely here because it's also about negotiating. Every sell, every purchase you make, as you said, it's based on the negotiation. Even if it's as straight as just going to the website and buying something directly from the website, it is also a negotiation because you will look at other options. You want to buy an iPhone, then you would go to your local store, then you would go to Amazon, you would go to all the online shipments, you will compare the prices, and then you will pick the right deal for you. And that's also a negotiation, right?
Kind of a negotiation, yeah. And this guy, Chris Voss, he worked 20 plus years as a negotiator for FBI, talking to terrorists.
Okay.
So some people believe that this kind of experience does not apply to the ordinary life of us people, but Chris Voss believes that it does.
It does. I mean, we are, as we discussed, we are all humans, and whatever you do to whomever you sell to the humans. You do this to the humans, and then, for the negotiations, regardless of who are you negotiating to, is it just a business partner? Is it just a regular dude from the street, or is it a terrorist? After all, we are all humans, right? Good humans, bad humans, but humans.
Good point, by the way. Yeah, good point. Terrorists are humans too. No.
Okay. Yeah. Let's skip this one.
Let's skip this one. Anyway, so this discipline, if I understand it correct, so this discipline helps to target the audience in a correct way and then to approach this audience, right? So this discipline exists first of all, for salespeople to help to sell to the right people and to businesses in general. So businesses need the proper customer targeting system to go to people that are more likely to buy this product because they really need it, right? So this exists for businesses and for sales.
Yeah, but it also not just about selling, it's about understanding what to sell. It's about the market research, right? So if you have an idea in mind and you're not sure if this idea works or not, you would go and do a market research, right? You would do a market analysis, and that's also part of marketing. All the things from how your product looks to how your product feels to how much it costs, it's also part of marketing, right? So we have product marketing, we have campaigns marketing, digital marketing. It's also marketing.
So this research is like stage 0.
Yeah, it is. So it's not about selling is the final point. But before selling, there's a lot of steps that has to be fulfilled, from understanding what to sell, how to sell, to whom to sell. So answering all of these questions is marketing.
Like what is the demand, the real demand on the market, right? And what people really need, and to compare yourself to the competitors, to the products that already exist on the market, that you do, like some product that you produce. I think it's very important to understand the competition, like what are the existing products already on the market to get the right strategy, right? Well, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, and especially because the world is so diverse now, but it also so available. When you are starting a business, you are not limited by only your local community, right? If you're starting an online business, especially, you can sell to whomever the fuck you want in this huge world. You can sell to guys who you haven't even heard about, the nations that live thousands of kilometers from you. And that's also part of it, understanding where there is a demand. Again, back to the basic definition, understanding where there is a demand and how to fulfill it.
Satisfy.
Yeah, so you can, sitting here in Turkey or somewhere in Europe, you can end up in a situation where you understand that your main target audience is Thailand, for example. You've never been to Thailand. You don't know a single Thai person, but then marketing will help you understand that Thailand is your target audience. Go for it, and then you don't even have to care. You don't have to care that you don't know the language, that you don't know the culture, and then how people live. Marketing will help you with that. Marketing. The goal of marketing is to make sure that they connect the buyer and the seller, and then this connection is the best possible outcome for both parties.
So can we say that data about customers is the core of all marketing and sales activities?
Yeah, for sure. Like when you're talking digital marketing and the conventional push marketing, when we try to push you something, it all starts with target audience all the time. It's the basic, it's the foundation. It's something that's, if you skip the understanding of your ideal customer profile, there's just a target audience, nothing will work out. That's the basic first step for every marketing strategy for anything out there.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that there are some people listening to us that hate sales and marketing because they see all these ads that they don't really need. So guys, remember that if we see something that you don't really need, or somebody is trying to sell you something that you don't really want, that's just their problem. We are not all the same. We are sales and marketers. The right way to do that is to target the right audience, not just to spray your product to everyone on this planet. So there are, I think, bad sales and good sales. There are bad marketers and good marketers. So good marketers and sales, they usually try to apply different rules and strategies to target the right audience and to sell to the people that really need that. So we are good.
And it's also that's how all the ad sellers like Google ad services, LinkedIn ad services, whatever, that's also how they work. So if you try to build an audience in LinkedIn and Facebook, whatever, the bigger the audience, the cheaper it is for you to market it. The lower the audience, the smaller the audience, and the more targeted you are, the more expensive it gets. So for some marketeers, it's just very, very easy to skip the ICP, the ideal customer profile situation, just keep researching the audience and just bombard everyone in a specific geo, in a specific, interest group or profession, and just don't care about more than that, because it's cheaper, because it's a bit, but it is a bit offensive, But if you actually try to think about the target audience and become as targeted as possible, it will be more expensive, but it will bring a lot more value and return of investment as well. And if you are feeling that you are targeted with something that you don't care about, you need to educate the algorithms basically on what you care about. For example, in Google, not everybody I think knows about it, and not everybody uses it, but deep into the settings of your account profile, there is a page that shows all your interests. So Google, based on your activities, they would put you to specific interest groups. So these interest groups could be anything like luxury goods, cars, games, whatever. And if you feel like that something is not relevant happening to your ads that are shown to you, you just need to Google how to change it, and that's very easy. You just go to your account settings, you understand that I don't care about this, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, and that's it. And you will start seeing more relevant ads to you. So
you can opt out deep into the settings of the Google Chrome web browser. Okay.
Yeah, you can opt out for specific interest groups, and then you won't be bothered with that stuff anymore. I remember one time, I think I got interested in some expensive watches or something, or some expensive goods, and then immediately, I just liked the look of it and the feel of it. I was just interested in why some watches would cost like $1 million or even more. And I just did a research, and then suddenly I became a part of this interest group, and Google was trying to push some expensive cars and like private jets and expensive houses to me. I'm like, guys, I am a student.
You overestimate my budget.
I'm 20 years old. Like, I get maybe $50 a week, and that's the lucky week. And then you're pushing private jets to me. That could happen, but that's. It's just the technology. It's not ideal. We've evolved so quickly from basically nothing, from conventional methods, from trying to push flyers to people on the streets, to having this complicated online settings with the targeting and all the options. It took a very short time for people to realize that we are now here. So people are still learning, and the algorithms are also learning. All the ad sellers, again, Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, they are all learning as well. And there's no ideal way to understand how you interact with a specific product or need and to push it to the marketing departments. So it's evolving, and I'm sure that in 5-10 years it will get much, much better. But for now, it is what it is. So it could happen that you are targeted with the irrelevant stuff for you.
Okay. And what do you think is going to happen if suddenly at your company we plug out the marketing department completely? What's going to happen? Do sales going to feel it instantaneously, or it's like more of a prolonged effect? on the company.
Yeah, I mean, they will feel it for sure right away because, well, if we talk about my company is a huge enterprise organization with huge budgets for marketing, and in such an example, sales would feel the effect within less than a quarter, I'm sure, because what sales are doing, basically, sales are doing two ways. First way of selling is having your own network and then reaching out to them directly and then trying to sell them.
Like to lead generate for yourself, make the lead generation by yourself.
By yourself. But that's, on a scale that we're talking about, the best case scenario, it's like 1%, 1.5%. But the rest of it is the inbound leads, the leads that marketing provides to sales. So we would generate leads, someone who responds to our ads, someone who leaves their email to us. We know that guy name, we know their email, and then we push that lead to the salesperson, and they would call them out, they will send them emails, and they will try to reach and sell. So if you don't have this constant flow of the inbound leads that marketing provides you with, then you're left with only this 1.5% of what you've been doing previously. So of course your revenue will drop significantly and right away.
So it's inbound versus outbound activities. Like inbound activity is what sales got from the marketing department, and outbound activity is what you sales do by yourself,
well,
the
it's
lead
just
generation.
The term maybe not the best term I used, but in marketing, inbound and outbound means that someone is searching for you and you're trying to just get the intent at the right moment and just, pull them in. And outbound means that no one is searching for anything, but you're pushing. So, for example, if you're already Googling for an iPhone, you want to buy a new iPhone, and you would Google for iPhone, you would go to apple.com, they will know that you're an inbound lead because you came yourself to them. So the job is slightly different. But if you don't even know that you need an iPhone, and then you suddenly see an ad for an iPhone and you start realizing that, maybe I need to update my iPhone. That's the outbound. You haven't shown, maybe you've shown an interest, but then they are just pushing to your emails, banners, whatever. That's the outbound stuff.
And with Apple,
give me a second, please.
Yeah.
I need to put.
Sure.
I started clapping for some reason. I wanted to say.
Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pee now.
Yes.
So to make a summary of this part of conversation, marketing works, right?
Well, definitely marketing works. And when you are especially working in a big organization, when there's a lot of stakes, when there's a lot of money, you start to build those attribution systems and you see directly how your marketing influences the pipeline, how much money your organization makes. And just from these numbers, we see that, yes, marketing definitely works.
Because it's very easy to get misconceptions about marketing, especially from the user's point of view. Because, for example, myself, I kind of think that I already know what I need. And I don't need advertisement. I don't need this marketing outreach to understand what I need. But that may be a misconception because maybe I cannot know about some products that are on the market that I really love, but I just don't know that it exists, for example. That's the case.
Yeah. But how do you know that you need something?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Like that's what marketing helps you to understand, partially, right?
Yeah. And it just, the good marketing would influence your decision-making process. And you never know specifically and exactly what you need. Like when you think about buying a new phone, some big brands, big names would pop up in your head automatically. You're using an iPhone, probably you will switch to a new iPhone as well. But you will switch to a new iPhone because Apple invested billions of dollars into their marketing organization, into the awareness, into the brand perception. You know that Apple exists. And when you think about buying a camera, probably right away you'll think about GoPro or some of the biggest names that already invested millions of dollars in creating this brand. And there's also million other products out there as well that you haven't heard about, but if you start Googling for the camera, if they're good if they have good marketing department, they will know that you're showing intent, and they will serve you something, and they will plant this idea in your head. And also, a good marketing is, again, I told you already that selling and the convert stage is the last stage. Everything that happens before that is a journey that marketing has to create for you. A good marketing organization will take your hand from the point where you don't know anything about this product, you don't know anything how to use it, and they will slowly but surely walk you through the whole journey, starting with the idea of, why do you need this product? What is this product created for? What are the benefits of this product? Not specifically their product, but just the product as a in general, like an industry. Like, for example, you would sell, data management. What is data management? How do you understand what is data management? You don't even know what is it. And the good marketing will show you what is data management, not talking about specifically their product. They will be just talking about the industry, the problems you might have. And only then, when you are ready, they will switch to the second gear, showing you specifically the products, the benefits of their product, and why it's better than the competition. And only then, when you're ready, you will convert. So it's a long journey. That's what the strategy of marketing is all about, right? Building the experience, not specifically the selling part, but building the experience so you want to sell. People don't like when someone is pushing them, right? People don't like when someone is forcing them to buy stuff. People are extremely smart nowadays, right? And the good marketing is, it's like the movie Inception, right? Planting an idea somewhere deep in your brain, and then when the moment hits, you will remember, and you will go to the website of the of the organization you've seen an ad on like 10 years ago, and you'll remember, and you'll get in and you'll convert.
And these examples that you mentioned with Apple and GoPro, we know these brands, we recognize these brands instantaneously, and we know that we can trust these brands. We can be sure that the quality of these products is very high. It's all well done, the best materials used, etc. So does it mean that also, is that the part of marketing that they do? So the marketing helps to create the brand recognition on the market, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other cameras on the market that you can choose, and maybe they won't be worse than GoPro. But GoPro, what is the name of the company? The same GoPro, maybe?
Now they're GoPro. Previously, I think they had a different name, and now it's GoPro.
Okay, and now I think they invested a lot of money to make the brand recognition number one, right?
Yeah, and that's the awareness marketing, so-called. And from a marketeer standpoint, the difference between just making a brand perception and trying to convert people is the KPIs and how you track the performance, how you measure success is very, very different. Because like how you do brand perception, there's a lot of different ways, but it could include, for example, offline advertising, all the billboards you see on the streets. How do you count how many people have seen your billboard on the street? It's very, very hard to do. And also, how do you understand where people saw the ad on the street and then they went to your website and bought something? Of course, the awareness, the banner on the street, it influenced you, but it's hard to measure and control specifically whom this will be targeting. And on the convert side, especially if it's happening online, it's much, much easier to understand, when you're coming from, what time are you coming at, and it's just easier to set the KPIs, and they're just very, very different there.
That's why they put a lot of logos on the sport cars in this international competitions like Formula One and stuff. So they used all these logos, they put it onto the car, and multiple logos on one car. I was always wondering, like, why do they do that? But that's the way how they imprint their brand and the awareness. They enhance the awareness by this way, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, I thought somewhere online is someone was asking, why is Coca-Cola pushing their marketing, their awareness marketing so hard. Like everybody already knows what Coca-Cola is. But that's kind of the thing, that everybody knows what Coca-Cola is, specifically because Coca-Cola is investing so much in their awareness marketing about, doing this ads on TV. They for us, I'm not sure how it happens in other parts of the world, but in Russia we had an ad, specifically a New Year ad for Coca-Cola with those big trucks, big white trucks with a specific music. They're coming to a town where the New Year is here. And for us, like living our life, every New Year we will start seeing the same ad. And for us, there is a clear connection between New Year and Coca-Cola now. So
you mean for us Russians?
For us Russians, because, well, I think this kind of ad happened across the world, but I know how it happened in Russia. So we have this direct correlation between New Year and Coca-Cola. When New Year hits, we see the jingle, we hear the jingle, we see the ad, we know that for our New Year table, we want to have Coca-Cola. So yeah, that's because they invested in that marketing long ago. And that's the thing about good marketing. It's always about the long play. It's always about thinking ahead and planning ahead. For example, what fascinates me today about Apple is how they are great at building this long-term strategies. For example, their latest first-gen product, Vision Pro, this VR, AR, well, they call it spatial computing headset. So they released the headset, and clearly this product is made for the early adopters, for the guys who are really invested in tech, but it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for it. It costs $3,000 for a product you don't even understand how to use in your day-to-day life. And it's also not ideal at this point because it is a first-generation product. They've made everything they could out of the resources they had. But at the same time, they're promoting the hell out of it. They, every Apple store you go, even here in Turkey, they will have huge ads about the Apple Vision Pro. Are they doing this to convince you to buy it right now? No, they are not. They're doing it for you to understand that this is something new. You've heard about it, but then when they release a second version of the product, the third version of the product, when it will be significantly cheaper and more capable, you'll know that you've seen this ad already. You've seen that this was made, and in 5-10 years, you'll have this idea planted in your head that I've seen this already. I've heard about this already, and this is not for now. This is for the future, and that's
Inception.
Yeah, Inception. That's the best part of marketing. That it's always a long play, especially in B2B, like business to business. For example. Most of my career, I was focused on hunting for enterprise accounts. So accounts with 5,000 plus employee count. And in organizations like that, the buying cycle is super long. So from the time when there is a new project, for example, they realize they need a new software for protecting something, or a CRM system, they need to update. The amount of stakeholders within this organization is huge, and the buying committee who takes part in the decision-making process could consist of like 12, 15, 20 people. And the buying cycle could take up to 2 years. It's really easy to imagine where a company would be deciding for something for 2 years. And that's why your responsibility as a marketeer to make sure that for this 2 years, they're all constantly fed with some information from our end. We are planting this idea that, hey guys, we're not pushing, we are not trying to sell it to you right now, but you just need to know that it's there. We are out there to help you. So it is a very, very long process, and you always need to plan ahead.
And if we imagine that Coca-Cola stops their awareness brand activities, in this case, will the awareness of this brand gonna fade away, or this brand is so well known around the world that that's not gonna happen? That's about the example that you made with Coca-Cola. It seems like people really already knew what is Coca-Cola and everybody wants to have it on its table, etc. But maybe there is another situation when we have new generations of people who have never heard about Coca-Cola, so they need to be exposed to a new advertisements to see this brand, to create the awareness of the brand. Is it correct?
Yeah, I mean, for Coca-Cola, the situation is, of course, different now because their supply chain is so huge. Like, it's similar to like McDonald's. You would go wherever you go in the world, you'll see the same McDonald's, and then for Coca-Cola, it's the same. In every, like, let's take Russia as an example. In the deepest village, in the deepest forest, you'll find a shop that would sell Coca-Cola, and that's because of the supply chain. And I think if they stop investing so much, of course, it will not ruin the whole business in 1 year. But as time passes, as the new generation comes in, it will probably have an effect. But the other example would be Tesla. So Tesla never markets anything; they never promote anything. But still, everybody knows what Tesla is. But if you think about it, you've never seen an ad for a Tesla. You've never seen a banner ad or an online ad for buying a Tesla. But everybody still knows what Tesla is because they have more than just awareness. They have a strong leader who is very, very active on social media, on everything. And he has a huge background. And that's why they probably don't even need that much of an advertisement. Everybody already knows what Tesla is. So they choose this direction where they still do marketing, but they do it differently. They do it through Elon Musk, through his social media, and also maybe some local things. But globally, they're not investing that much in promoting their stuff. But it still works for them.
Interesting, because I thought they have some marketing campaigns. Well, I heard first about the Tesla, I think from the Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan Experience podcast. They were discussing, and Joe owns one Tesla, so he was describing it in such beautiful words, like that it's gonna, speed up to 100 for 2 seconds, and it doesn't produce any sound, and it's kind of strange to be there when you just start using Tesla, but then you get used to that and you like it very much. And this minimalism style that they apply to Teslas, because where you have just one screen, one steering wheel, and that's it.
Yeah, but also, who convinced Joe Rogan to buy a Tesla? It was Elon Musk who came to his podcast and he told how Tesla is amazing. And he told him, you need to buy this specific Tesla. And he bought it. And then he loved it. And that's also part of marketing they're doing.
But in this case, this is the marketing based on personal brand of Elon Musk.
Yeah, I mean, because people trust him, right? And he has the ability to come to the Joe Rogan podcast, and here you have thousands, millions of listeners who are your target audience right away, right? So you tell it, Joe Rogan as an influencer would pick up this idea. He buys a Tesla, he loves it. That's great. And now suddenly everybody knows that Tesla is great because there's not only Elon Musk's validation. People already trust him, but there's also Joe Rogan who loves it, and that's how they build it. The extensive way of marketing, which really works for Tesla right now.
If the guy knows how to make rockets to go to launch them to the International Space Station, probably he knows shit about how to produce electric cars because I think it's less difficult to do that than a rocket.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean. Of course, they are innovative, but it doesn't mean that they don't do marketing. They just don't do conventional marketing. For example, I remember, Tesla Model S was their first very popular product. But before that, they had some prototypes as well. I think they had the Tesla Roadster. That was their first commercial car. And back then, I was a huge fan of Top Gear show, the British show. And I remember that Jeremy Clarkson, the host, he didn't like the Roadster, and he was very, very harsh about the car. And I remember Tesla I think they were suing him very, very much. And it was a big, big deal because someone told the bad thing about Tesla. So back then, 10, 15 years ago, I think even more, it was really important for Tesla that everybody would find, the best out of their car. But now, they they just don't anymore, because they know there's haters, they know there's lovers, and there's a whole community who would promote itself. The best promoters for Tesla are Tesla owners. They're just going and telling everyone how it changed their life, and then how now everything is much better with the electric car.
And could you please remind me, what is the name of the model of Tesla that has this strange, weird square shapes?
Cybertruck?
Cybertruck.
Yeah. The new one.
So it was kind of, the reaction of the market was, it was like different for different people. Somebody loved it, somebody not. It was very controversial reaction in public. So does it mean that they didn't have proper marketing or not?
Well, part of it. I think the biggest disappointment for a lot of people who expected the Cybertruck was they haven't delivered on what they promised. So the business structure for Tesla and the manufacturing structure and also the marketing strategy builds based on the pre-orders, right? So they showed the prototype of the Cybertruck, I think it was 2020 or 2019. So it was a long time ago, or maybe, like 3-4 years ago. Back then, when they were showing the prototype, they were over-promising, basically. They told that it would cost $60,000, I think that was they promised. They told that the range of the car would be around 700 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers and stuff. And people were expecting all of that, but then when they actually delivered, it costs almost $100,000 now. It doesn't have the range they claimed. And that's where the disappointment came from. And that's also maybe a problem with the lack of marketing, because just Elon Musk came out to the stage. He told that this will be an amazing car. People started pre-ordering that, but then when they actually delivered, it was not what they were promised. But it's still a great car. It is still the pinnacle of what the automotive industry can create. But people were promised something different, and that's why they were disappointed. But I know a lot of people really enjoy it, and it's still fascinating how a car of this size could actually be so silent. It could accelerate so fast. It is fascinating.
It is, and it looks so futuristic. And I can see it was introduced as a concept vehicle in November 2019. So
yeah.
You were right, 4 years ago. Well, yeah. Well, I'm always trying to find just one reason why the product was successful or not. But in the case of Cybertruck Tesla, there were multiple reasons why it was introduced, and after that seen by people in a controversial way. So somebody liked it, somebody not.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I like it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the biggest selling point of it, just look at it. Just look at it. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's made of this steel versus...
Is it electric?
It is electric. Yeah, Tesla only does electric things. It is made of stainless steel versus aluminium, or just the usual iron, I think. So stainless steel is extremely hard to manage. So they had to build a whole new way of manufacturing stainless steel to build those panels and to build the truck. And also I think the design came from Elon Musk's son. He drew a picture of a futuristic truck, and Elon is like, well, guys, engineers, go ahead and make it work.
Put it into production
production right now, yes. I don't care. And I think the biggest selling point is just how futuristic it is, how different it is from everything else. In the modern world where a lot of things are super similar, like take mobile phones, for example. If you take the screen part of the phone, like 90% of phones are similar. They are not distinguishable at all. Like the back plates are a bit different because of the camera placements and stuff, and it only takes one different piece, one mobile phone that would look a bit different. It would look strange, but it would immediately gain interest because it's just different. It's the same happens for the Cybertruck. It's just so different, and that's also part of the marketing that was included into the production of this car. It's just very, very different, and people would like it automatically. It would go not like, but it would gain interest automatically, and then it's up to the engineers and the making sure that the car is actually good to walk them through the rest of it for them to convince them to buy it. But it would also gain interest just automatically.
The same is true for Apple. The first Apple iPhone that was released, people back then didn't know. They have never seen what is a smartphone without buttons, because at that time only button phones existed. And they introduced it, and it was so new. Of course, it gained a lot of attention.
I believe there were touch phones before that, especially with those commercial stylus phones that all the businessman uses. But they invented I'm not sure if they invented, but they were first to adopt the multi-touch technology. And I remember seeing this ad where someone would, push their fingers and then zoom in a photograph or something. It was just mind-blowing. Now it's a banal platitude. Everybody uses that. But back then, it was mind-blowing. And of course, the success of Apple, it's a lot of different factors, right? It's the power of the person. It's Steve Jobs
brand.
And personal brand. If you want to understand how good marketing works, like in terms of offline and just the presentation skills, just watch the iPhone presentation, or watch all the Apple presentations hosted by Steve Jobs. It is amazing how he works with the audience, how he sells the products without directly pushing it. It is amazing. So the power of one person and then and the brand of this person. Also, of course, the technology and the power of the engineering machine, how they invented all of that, how they pulled so much technology into one small piece of manufacturing. It's also good, but it's also marketing, right? It's also how they build their awareness, how they build the online ads, the offline ads, the website they've done is amazing. It's so simplistic, it's so easy to use, all of it. And it's also the offline stuff. Offline stuff, when you go to Apple Store, there's so much stuff written in the code of content for the Apple Store, right? All the screens has to be at the specific angle, and you would see that in an Apple Store, all the MacBooks are opened in an inconvenient angle. That's made because when you come to the Mac, it forces you to to adjust the screen, and you start touching it, and you feel like, oh, it's aluminum. It feels very, very, very good. And also, when you start touching something, it also makes this connection between you and the product. So everything is thought about there. And it's also marketing, right? So the offline, the how you sell, the stores is also marketing.
Well, yeah, I think it's one of the marketing strategies to have the best product, the new to the market, but we're gonna discuss that also. Let's discuss it right now. Like marketing strategies, can we count them at all, or there is a certain amount of them nowadays?
Well, of course, there's a lot, and it's hard to say what a marketing strategy is on a basic level.
But I think there is a theory basis about that that they write about in the books or in the instructions for marketers. No.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's. If you think about, I told you, there's already we discussed a lot of different elements to marketing, but if we're talking about just the conventional push-pull stuff, you can separate it into the two big groups, online and offline, right? So offline, all the posters you see on the street, all the banner ads you see on the streets, the stores, how they sell, it's the offline. The events, right? And then there's online, everything that happens online. all the ads you see there, all the websites and stuff. That's kind of the other realm. And then you would go to different tactics within online and offline. So there's countless way of hunting the audience, right? And combining different tactics would create a different marketing strategy. But it's never just about the tactics, because marketing strategy includes the audience. So who are you trying to sell to? Then the messaging. So what are you trying to sell it to? Building the messaging is very, very important. Then of course the content, and what are you using? What are the tools you are using to attract the user's attention? It could be white papers, ebooks, just the website. So that's the content. Also, it's the tactical plan. So which tactics are you going to use? Is it online? Is it offline? Is it Google? Is it both? Is it Google? Is it Facebook or anything
Personal
else
brand.
in the world? Personal brand. Yeah. So the tactics, and it's also the success measures, the KPIs, the performance. So these 5 elements would create a marketing strategy, and you can imagine that on every level there's so much different varieties of options, and combining everything together would create a marketing strategy. And I think the question is, why at first, why do you need a marketing strategy? And what is it? So I work in campaigns marketing. So campaigns is the strategy powerhouse. And to explain how it all works, basically, we can take an example. Like you and me.
What is a campaign?
Yeah, what is a campaign? So you and me, we decide to start a business together. Let's say we want to sell. What do we want to sell?
We want to sell, I don't know, bottles of water.
Bottles of water. Yeah, we have. We think that we have a unique bottle and technology that will change the world forever. Right?
Our water gonna change the world forever.
Yeah.
The purest on the market.
Yeah. Well, you see, we are done already. Just push it online and we are done. So we have the manufacturing, and we know that we want to start locally. We want to test it, and we start selling our water. You would do the sales and the CEO stuff. I will be responsible for marketing. At first, when you are a small business, you'll probably have one person responsible for everything in marketing. That person will be responsible for the website, for the webinars you're doing, for the ads you're pushing, for the email marketing, for everything. Then we suddenly realize that there is a demand for our water in Germany for some reason. And we know that we are not confident enough with the German market. So we would hire someone in marketing who will help us with the German market.
A local guy?
Maybe a local guy, or maybe someone who has worked with this audience before. So now we have 2 people in marketing. Then as we grow, I understand I cannot scale alone. I cannot manage all of these channels. So we would hire someone who will help me with email marketing. Then we will hire someone who will help me with PPC ads, like the pay-per-click, the ads you see on the internet. And then as we grow, as we scale, we go globally. We start hiring more regional marketeers. We start hiring more digital marketeers, and suddenly you have this email guy. He will hire someone to help him, and you have a huge marketing organization now. Suddenly we sell water to millions of people out there, and we have like 100 people in marketing. So if you don't have a campaign, if you don't have a strategy, we all will end up in a situation when there's no one clear way to move forward. And these teams, because of lack of communication, because there's so many of them, they will start competing with each other. They will start working on the same stuff because there's a misalignment between the teams. And that's exactly the moment when you need the campaign, the strategy. That's exactly the point where you need someone to take the goal of the company, so like our goal with you to sell as much water as possible. But how do we do this? So we take this goal and then we apply it to marketing. We create a strategy. What is the best way from a marketing standpoint to achieve that goal? That's where you need the campaigns, and that's where you need the big strategy. Of course, just selling stuff online with the online ads, it's also a strategy, but it's just the other level, just different level of being strategic, right? You can just think about who you want to sell to and how, and that's it. You kind of miss on the other three elements. You only talk about the tactics and target audience. That's also enough for someone, and that may be more than enough for someone. But for when you scale, for bigger organizations, for more complicated products, for a different variety of products, you need to have this strategy to align the company goals to how you achieve those goals, to actually marketing and what they do.
If I get it right, a campaign means first a strategy that you need to do, how you're going to promote your product, and second, the way how all these units within marketing department communicates with each other. Right?
Yeah. So a campaign marketing professional, being a strategic powerhouse, being the ultimate source of truth for the audience. He knows the audience the best. He knows how this audience interacts with different sources. The campaign marketeer will go to these different teams and work with them to make sure we are all moving in one direction. Mm-hmm. So I would go to a BBC team and say, hey guys, we've done this email ad. Maybe we've seen that some of the of the guys who we sent the email to, they opened it, and some didn't. We know that we have cookies, for example, for those who opened. Let's try to retarget those with some other ads on Facebook. So and then you would go to content syndication team, and then you would say, working with the third-party vendor, let's promote our content there to specifically those guys who we targeted in email. And you would suddenly start, instead of just blindly pushing different pedals and then seeing how it works, you would start orchestrating. You would make sure that all the channels worked as one single well-oiled machine. And that's kind of the goal for the campaign marketing and for strategic marketing in general.
Why do you think the company that you're with utilizes green color for all their marketing campaigns? Why did they choose green? Does it have any history, the background behind it, or it was just a random color that they chose?
Well, there could be two ways here. Well, specifically for my company, back when the founders created it, that was the color they associated with peace, with something natural, with something good, and we created a logo based on their feelings, and that's where we stick with the colors from then. But if the marketing were involved at the beginning, if there was a market research, of course, now we know that our human brains associate specific colors with specific feelings, and
the green is very conventional, right? The green light.
Yeah, I mean, specific colors would resonate in different meanings in business or in personal life. For example, in personal brand perceptions, we would associate black with something either very posh and expensive. That's the research that was done. I don't remember the name, but we would associate something with with expensive stuff, or with something dark and scary and death or something. But in the business world, black would be considered a color of like professionalism, of something strict and something direct. Like green, again, green in your personal life would be associated with something natural and realistic, and something that's part of the human nature. But on the other hand, in business, it would be associated with something flexible, with something that is willing to change for the customer. So there's a whole lot of research is already made on the colors as well. And the human brain, of course, from the marketing perspective, is fascinating, and it is examined all the way through. There is a marketing specifically for colors. There is a marketing specifically for sounds. We know how people associate different sounds with different emotions, and all these jingles that big companies make that you hear, like the Netflix sound. When you click start Netflix app on your phone, on your TV, you will hear that specific sound, which now associates with Netflix. And I'm sure, I don't know exactly, but I'm sure that at least 5 to 10 people were involved in the creation of this one single note that is just being produced. So just the physical ways that we developed through our evolution are also examined. They're also associated with specific functions, and of course, marketing uses that knowledge as a way to sell stuff to you.
Another question is, are there some universal strategies that work in any business, regardless of size and domain? I know this is a dummy question, but I just want to know if there is some, unified way of doing marketing that's going to work 100%, or you can never be sure.
Of course, you can never be sure, and because again of the complexity. Remember the 5 elements of the strategy. Each element can be so different, and that's why the tactic would also be different, and it depends on so many factors. For example, you could be selling the same product, but to 2 different people, one in China, one in the US. Your marketing strategy will be completely different. Your tactics that you're using will be different. Even the messaging you're using will be for sure different. So even within one company, within one product, you cannot say that there's one universal truth. There's some things that work better historically for a specific audience. There's some things that work worse. But of course, there's no one single key to success
equation.
If there would be, everybody would be using that, and it would stop being efficient. Because marketing, if we talk about the how users or how end users, regular people think about marketing is a virus. There is a human body, right? And suddenly it catches a virus, and it starts fighting the virus. But then the virus would evolve, to fight the body again. And that's the same that happens with marketing. Someone was pushing flyers on the street, and now we are resistant to flyers on the street. We take it, we throw it away right away. So of course, marketing would evolve to try and find different areas and different anchors to your brain, different things to influence your brain. So when something is not working, you adjust, you create a new strategy. And even within one marketing campaign, you could have billions, well, not billions, of course, but you can have multiple different ways of targeting, and you always need to adjust. Of course, a good marketeer knows that adjustment is everything. As we discussed in the beginning, as with the life, you need to be ready to adjust. Within one marketing strategy, you also need to adjust. You thought that Facebook would work best for your particular needs. You invest money into it, but then you see after 1 month, 2 months that it's not working. Of course, you'll be switching, right? Because you are a virus. You see that this particular this particular body is resistant to you. So you'll find another way to be there for them when they need you.
One of the examples that comes to my mind is the bakery that was opened a couple of months ago, just across the street where I live. So, and at this place, there were many other businesses before this bakery. There was, when I moved in Istanbul here, and when I found this spot, this business, at this place, there were an automobile business. So they were selling cars or maybe renting them off. I'm not sure, but anyway, it was a place with cars. They were selling cars. And I have never seen any customer who was coming inside because they have this window doors. It's all transparent. You can see what's happening inside. Nobody has ever been there. Well, at least when I was passing by. then probably they realized that it's not effective place. That's not a good place for such business, despite of the fact that around this district, just one block away, there are other car companies that sell and rent cars, and they are still there. But this spot was not successful for this exact business. So then, after this business, they went away. Another company came. They were selling carpets because we're in Turkey. Carpets are used everywhere in any flat. It's very conventional to have a carpet, two carpets, three carpets in your flat. And in Turkey, in Türkiye, the right way of pronouncing that actually. So they changed it. We thought that the reason of changing Turkey to Türkiye was to clear this association with the turkey bird, but that's not true. The initial reason of that was so now Türkiye is addressing people that are Turks. That's why Türkiye sounds more natural to Turk people. I mean, not people living in Türkiye, but people who are also Turks.
Yeah.
It can be Azerbaijan, it can be Kazakhstan, it can be other countries that are generally Turks.
Yeah.
So they are, it's like kind of a marketing of the government. The way they do. So after this, this carpet business was not successful at all, because I could see all these poor sellers that was sitting and waiting for the customer, and nobody would buy. There were some strangers passing by. They would look at these carpets and maybe touch it once or twice, but then they went away. Probably the selling was not so good for this business, and then they also shut it down. And next there was some other businesses, but now they opened up the bakery. And the bakery, I can see a lot of people all the day, during the whole day. So people come and would buy tea, coffee, and all these bakery stuff like pancakes.
So what do you think made specifically them successful in this spot?
I don't really know, because probably people didn't. Well, I think the obvious answer is that people already have carpets nearby. People already have rental car companies nearby. But the bakery is what they need, and the proper place, because a lot of passersby come here and there, and they see this bakery, and they also put a very good, like an open space, not inside, but along the street, where you can sit, breathe fresh air, smoke a cigarette. You can smoke a cigarette in Turkey anyway, everywhere anyway, but still, one of the marketing feature maybe. I don't really know why, because it seems like cars and carpets are also very important for Turks, because, Istanbul is a big city, and these car companies that rent off the cars, they exist in a big number. I know at least 2 or 3 in my block. But for some reason, it was not successful. I don't know. I want to ask you, why do you think it's successful in this case?
Well, I don't know exactly, but
that was my point. There are a lot of
yeah.
Numbers in this equation, a lot of units in this equation, and you never know what's going to work.
Something went wrong. Something on this 5 key elements for their marketing. Something went wrong. Maybe they didn't understand the audience correctly. Maybe they just didn't understand the tactics they should have been using. Maybe they didn't build the messaging correctly to resonate with the audience, specifically in this district, on that street, the way where they opened. So something went wrong. We don't know for sure, but it's interesting, how one little mistake in your strategy could lead to a total failure, especially when we're talking about big scales and big marketing budgets. You're investing thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to promotion, and then, someone would make the settings with the target audience incorrectly, and instead of targeting the chief information officer, you would target chief human officer, CIO versus CHO, something like this. And then there's one simple mistake could lead to a whole bunch of negative consequences, with just wasting money. So it is a lot of stuff.
Yes. And do you think they could have done a proper research all these businesses that didn't thrive here at this exact place at that exact moment, do you think they could have done some research to understand whether it's a good or bad idea to open this type of business or the other type of business?
Yes, and that's exactly why marketing exists, right? And I know you're close to all the startup situations that are happening now, and before the startup even starts selling something, they would create this MVP, right? The product stuff that marketing would help understand whether there is a need for this product specifically now, specifically in that geo. So before creating the product itself, you would start with testing it. You would start with seeing how the idea of this product resonates with the audience, and then only after you see some success, you would go on and then invest into production and then all of the supply chain stuff. So if you're serious about investing money in a business, of course, you need to start with the research, and research is where marketing thrives.
And within your organization, do you have a separate research department that does all these necessary research in order to launch the business, or they use some external data from an outsourcing company that provides this data to you?
It's both. We do have, well, it's not a specific department, but we have people who are responsible for the market research. It's part of their responsibilities for a campaign marketeer, for a product marketeer. So it is. But we realize that, of course, our resources are not unlimited. So sometimes it is just cheaper and more efficient to buy something from a third-party vendor to buy an analysis ready to go.
And how they do that? How do they research? Like, do they go on the streets and ask questions, like make questionnaires and ask people? How is that done?
Well, mostly it is done online, of course,
Yeah.
and it is done through, it could be done directly with your customers, for example, who are willing to answer some questions, or it could be done through some third parties who are specialized in asking questions and getting answers. For example, in my company, we do an annual research, a very, very big research where of the whole market and the whole trends happening on the market, where like 10,000 stakeholders would participate. And we have a team who helps with this research, right? So they will work either with the customers, or they will find different companies who work with researchers, or they will just throw some random surveys online and try to get the answer from well, in our case, of course, it's not random. It is necessary that a specific person would answer with a specific title within a specific company. But for a lot of stuff, like for the B2C stuff, the business to customer, you would go online and sometimes you can see the survey as an ad popping out to you, and people really like surveys. That's for sure. People like their opinion to be counted, and then that's what survey makes them feel. Like even I would see like bunch of different ads with just showing me some pictures and telling me something, but immediately when someone is asking for my opinion, like, do you care about this? And you say yes or no. I think I would immediately click on it just because it is asking for my input. And when we have an ability to provide our input and to express our opinion, automatically it's the win-win for everybody.
Well, it's kind of interactive way of collecting data. Well, from time YouTube makes this pop-ups. Like, is this advertisement relevant to you or not? And sometimes, I usually say no. But anyway, it doesn't happen often, actually. It happens once a quarter, maybe. Well, to me, that happens not really often. But yeah, it's interesting how it works.
Yeah, and, you're talking about YouTube, and I think for a lot of people, we need to realize that Google, it's not a search company, it is an advertisement company. Facebook is not a social media company, it is an advertisement company. They are doing all of that to advertise, and they are getting money from advertisements. And it is so even strange to imagine that we have these companies in the world who like oil companies who who make weapons, who make wars within some countries, and they are much less expensive and efficient than just the companies that would make advertisement, right? That also reiterates how advertisement is important now, how marketing is important now, that all the multi-billion, multi-trillion companies now, they are mostly advertisement companies. So yeah, it is important for all of us to know that when we are doing YouTube, they are not just doing it for our educational purposes or the fun stuff. They're doing it to sell your data to the companies like my company, and then you will use this data to serve the content that hopefully you really need.
Well, yeah. Well, we usually hate seeing all these advertisements on the web, for example, on YouTube, if you don't have YouTube Premium. But at the same time, it's so strange to me that the advertisement activities, it's the beginning of everything. Because if you're new on the market, you have to promote your product somehow. So you buy a place to advertise your product, and it's being advertised on some platform. So for example, if I'm going to find some sponsors of this podcast, I'm going to promote their products. And some people hate advertisement, right? They're going to, click that through. But it helps me to grow, right? Because if I have money to promote my product by promoting other products, that's how it works. It's like a circle.
Yeah.
So it's very strange to realize that, because on one point we hate advertisement, but on the other point we don't realize that this is how it all works, how it starts. That's the core of how everything, like how the world circles around.
Yeah,
So
advertisements is the engine of progress.
Yes, the engine of progress.
For sure.
Yes.
Can we have a pause
Great.
for a second?
Sure. We're gonna be back soon. Well, marketing. Everything is about marketing and sales, greed, and advertisement. We're gonna all be sucked. All our power are gonna be sucked by advertisement and marketing. It's not right, of course. Everything is gonna be good if we're gonna find a way to stop all these wars and conflicts and somehow live in peace. Everything is gonna be good. I think we can cope with a lot of advertisements.
Yeah, and I think marketing could be very helpful in this, because marketing is about finding similarities. It is about finding common ground for people who haven't met each other, never, and they are living in completely different parts of the world. When you are doing marketing, you realize that people in China, people in Russia, people in the United States, they all care about similar stuff. They all work, their brain works similarly in terms of how they choose stuff, how they pick the right product for themselves. You realize that people are very, very similar. And I think that realization can help the world to head to the right place, and that's what we discussed with you, that world is so diverse and it's hard to find common ground. But when you get into the capitalism, when you get to the product and then greed and all of that, you realize that people are very, very similar. So the bad way, the bad part of the world, the greed, the stuff, it also makes you realize that that we are not that different. So bad things lead to good things in that realm.
Well, yeah, and if there are no bad things, how can you understand what is good, right? It's the very non-original philosophical question of good and bad. But still, if there is no contrast, only if it's not binary, you cannot differentiate between things.
Yeah.
So you can understand that good is good in comparison with bad, and it doesn't work in any other way. Maybe that is why the perfect world is just an utopia. But I think we can reduce the amount of bad, and the good is always going to win. I think that's how it's possible to do. We cannot completely reduce the bad things because then we cannot differentiate between good and bad.
Yeah,
But we can reduce it.
We cannot appreciate the good things. Of course, light doesn't exist without darkness, and I had been living in St. Petersburg in Russia for 11 years, and St. Petersburg is famous for its bad weather, for
And darkness.
darkness, for the long winters. And in comparison, here in Turkey, we have a very short winter, and then mostly the weather is amazing, right? And what I loved about St. Petersburg, and I realized that back then, but now I realize it even more, that it's all about contrasts. All this bad weather for 6, 7, 8 months a year, it helps you understand how the good weather, this one day with the sun shining, you really start to appreciate that, and you appreciate that much more in comparison to to the place where all the days are good weather, and then it's just all good.
It's true, because I have been living here for a year and a half, and right now I grew used to having this good weather almost all year long. So now I don't really appreciate that. I take it for granted.
Yeah, you take it for granted. You know, when there's a gloomy day like today, you start to be angry about the weather. Like, why is it so gloomy today? You know, I'm used to you being nice all the time, and now you're not nice, and then you start to invest some bad feelings into this feeling that you have. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot for this conversation. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have more conversation, and we're going to discuss marketing more times. I'm pretty sure.
Not just marketing. We have a lot of stuff
Not just
to discuss,
marketing,
right?
but yeah, I mean, for those who are interested in marketing, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have some content about this topic, because as Vlad said, this sphere is very diverse. It's very deep. So it falls into many, many different subjects. It falls into many different units, and all these units comprise what is marketing. So we're going to unfold this question more in the following episodes, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, next time you come here, I'm going to put you in front of the microphone instantaneously, because usually how we do that, Vlad comes to my place, and we start discussing something, and we go to such deep conversations all the fucking time. And this is just the first one that we are recording. So yeah, wait for it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have more content, very interesting one.
For sure.
So, and okay, to sum it all up, the Blitz: Joe Rogan or Lex Fridman?
Lex Fridman.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, I started my way into podcasting with Joe Rogan, and I really, really appreciate that guy, and I think his content is amazing. But I lean more towards the style of Lex Fridman lately, and specifically because of the guests. Lately, I rarely find interesting guests with Joe Rogan.
He's gonna have conversation. He announced it today. He's gonna have a conversation with this politician from the US that were interviewing Vladimir Putin. What's his name?
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. So
Lex?
they got, yeah,
Lex did that?
Lex.
Oh,
He announced it today. So I'm waiting for it. And he asked people to address questions to him, because he's gonna ask all these questions, and they're gonna discuss Putin and war in Russian Ukraine, and many, many interesting things. We will see.
Interesting.
Waiting
yeah.
for it. Yeah. Okay, Tesla or Porsche?
Porsche, for sure.
What? I expected Tesla.
No.
No?
I mean,
You like the gear one?
I tried electric cars, and I wouldn't say that there's a perception that electric cars are not fun and stuff, and people are missing the sound of injection and and all the oil parts and all of that. I'm not that guy. I think that electric cars are definitely interesting and definitely amazing and then very fun, but still, Porsche is Porsche, and it's not just about the the way they do cars now. It's about the history, and it's about the quality control. It's about where they've been and when they're moving. And I think Porsche, being a part of Volkswagen Audi Group, and I'm a fan of Volkswagen Audi Group, it's just my jam. I feel like this German quality, this German attention to details is what makes Porsche great. So yeah, the answer is Porsche.
Okay. Good for you. Video podcasts or audio podcasts?
Wow, it's good to have a video, but I don't look at video when I listen to podcasts at all.
Never,
Yeah,
never.
almost never, because I know that for you, when you're watching the podcasts, you listening to podcasts, you like to really invest yourself into this motion. You will, sit and then listen carefully and watch carefully. For me, I listen to podcasts when I do something else, when I walk, when I doing the dishes or something else. So in that context, audio for sure.
Yeah, because I like usually watch video podcasts, and I usually do nothing else. Because, you're very productive. I'm not that much productive. I cannot simultaneously do many things. So if I'm going to listen and walk, I probably, two things going to happen. I'm going to either lose the sense of what I'm listening, or I'm going to, step on my leg and fall. That's the two possible ways. And also, video podcasts help me to dive into, to immerse yourself in a conversation in a very good way. And especially when you watch it on a big screen, you're like in front of the screen and you see all these reactions and emotions of people. And it creates this feeling that you're sitting around them, close to them. And for me, it's difficult to focus sometimes when I'm going somewhere or do something, doing dishes, for example, and listen. I cannot focus on both of it. I'm losing focus. So yeah. Anyway, Lex Friedman or Porsche?
What? Lex Friedman or Porsche?
Yes.
I don't think I will be riding Lex Friedman in my life.
Okay, another question. A Lex Friedman podcast or Awesome Strangers podcast?
Awesome Strangers podcast all day, all night, baby.
Okay. Well, Porsche, the last question. Porsche or Awesome Strangers podcast?
Man, Awesome Strangers podcast will win at any competition of that regard, of that sort. So,
you can also answer Awesome Strangers podcast inside of Porsche with a screen.
That's the ideal
The video
state.
podcast.
Yeah. The video. I don't think Porsche allows you to watch for videos while you're moving.
Oh yeah.
And then when you're in Porsche, you want to move as fast as possible. But
it's true.
Still, the combination is ideal.
Okay. Thanks for this conversation. I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate that. Thanks for information. I hope you liked it also.
I enjoyed it really much.
Because usually on the previous podcasts, I spoke much more than the speaker, than my guests. But here, you spoke more, and I think it's very good because you provided a lot of interesting information. And I'm so foolish I'm a fool in marketing, don't know anything about that. It was very interesting to me also. And I hope to our listeners too.
Yeah, as you said, next time we'll uncover even more interesting things about the current state and the future state. Because we talked about the history, about some basics, but we never talked about what's actual right now and then where is it all going. So
yes, we're going to do that very soon.
I'm excited.
See you soon, guys. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.